Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to class. My name is Glenn Killian, and I am the instructor for this, our behavior modification and cognitive disorder online class. Welcome to class. For many of you, this may be your very first online class, or maybe your first class with me. And I want to say, especially to you, welcome. It's great to have you on board. Others of you may have been with me in other classes, or you've taken other online classes as well, too. And regardless of kind of where you fall in that, I wanted to say welcome to you. And I wanted to just do a little bit of an introduction here as we get our class started. Always wanting to make sure that everybody is on the right page and we're all kind of heading the same direction as we get started, trying to get off to a good start. Again, my name is Glenn Killian. For those of you who do not know me, I am one of the full-time instructors in the Human Services program on the Montgomery campus here at Lone Star College. And this is a great class, and I'm glad that you have decided to join us. And I want to just kind of walk you through a little bit of just some things that are just going to be important to kind of keep in mind as we get our semester underway. Number one, this is a fully online class that runs for an entire 16 weeks. So we're starting here at the very, very beginning. We're going to go all the way through the semester. You're going to do everything online. This is a class that allows you to log in whenever you want to log in. There are some deadlines and there are some timelines, but there is not a requirement that you have to log in at a certain time. So it's got that flexibility and that freedom, and that's really, really good. And one of the things that I want to make sure you're doing, if you're not already done, is make sure you go and get the class syllabus, as you would do in any class on the very first day or first week. You want to make sure you review the syllabus because, again, the syllabus is really our guide for the entire semester. Gives me kind of a direction and some structure on kind of what we're going to be doing. And so make sure that you have, if you've not done it already, you've at least reviewed the syllabus. Maybe you want to print it out, however you want to do that. And I want to highlight a few things here in this little welcome video that are contained in the syllabus to kind of reinforce that basically a little bit. One of the common questions I get is about the textbook. Let me talk about that real quickly. So the book we use in this class, which is mentioned both in the orientation information and also too in the syllabus, is a little green paperback book called Understanding Applied Behavior Analysis, or ABA. I'll talk more about the textbook here in a second with an assignment that you're going to have the option of doing. But this is a great little textbook, and I mentioned in the orientation information, it's kind of not your typical college textbook. It's a great little textbook that I was not aware of until one of our students gave it to me as a Christmas gift many years ago. She was completing her practicum at an agency here in the Houston area that does ABA, or applied behavior analysis, with children with behavioral disorders or developmental disorders like autism. And she gave me that at the end of her practicum. She did her practicum in the fall. She kind of finished up around Christmas time, and she gave me that book because it was a book that at her center, the agency where she was working during her hours, it was a book that they used with the parents of the kids who came in that they were working with. And I took it home over Christmas break many years ago and kind of reviewed it. And I thought this would be a great little textbook for the behavior modification class. So that's our textbook. It's very, very simple to find online. It's not very expensive at all. And especially in the first 3 or 4 modules of this class, there's going to be a lot of good information that we're going to pull out of the textbook. I'll talk more about that here in a second, but it's a little green book called Understanding Applied Behavior Analysis. It kind of leads us to this question. What is this class about? Well, the class is called Behavior Modification and Cognitive Disorder. I often just refer to it as the Behavior Mod class. And we're required in our curriculum, a program like ours in Human Services, we're required by the state to have at least one class, and this is the class, where we talk about just the broad idea, the broad topic of human behavior. And that's what this class is. And I teach this class like a theories class. And so many of you have already taken, or maybe you are in right now, the DAC 1311 counseling theories class that everybody has to take, where we talk about Sigmund Freud and Alfred Adler and Carl Rogers and Albert Ellis, all those different helping approaches. I teach this class kind of like a theories class. And what we focus on are 2 main theories. We focus on a really old theory, a foundational theory helping approach to the helping professions called behavior theory. Behavior theory has been around for a long, long time. And it was one of the very first counseling approaches that was developed back in the days of early psychology and counseling in the United States. It's a theory that has evolved over time, and I'm going to sort of present to you the more modern kind of version in the first 4 modules of this class. But it is a foundational theory and helping approach. It's a great theory to understand the basic concepts, which is what we're going to cover. Um, it's a great theory to understand if you're going to be a helper, if you're going to be a counselor, social worker, working with kids, working in addictions counseling, working with the homeless, or working with the community, whatever you want to, wherever you're wanting to work. It's great to have a good handle and understanding of the basics of what we call behavior theory. And that's what we cover in the first 4 modules. The last 2 modules in our class are about an offshoot of behavior theory that you might have already heard of. It's called CBT, cognitive behavior theory. It's got behavior in the middle of it. And CBT is a much more modern approach. It's been developed in the last 20 or 30 years or so. Very, very common as far as a helping approach. Many counselors, many psychologists, many clinical social workers today, working with kids, with adults, with couples, with families, use the concepts of CBT. If you've taken the counseling theories class with me, especially, you've already maybe have an introduction to CBT, because I cover CBT in that class as well too, cognitive behavior theory. So that's what this class is about, behavior theory and its offshoot, cognitive behavior theory. And the way the class is organized, if you look at the syllabus, is we have 6 learning modules. Each module opens on a Monday and it stays open for 2 weeks. Modules 1, 2, 3, and 4 are about behavior theory. Module 5 and 6, the last 2, are about cognitive behavior theory. Modules 1 and 2, we're going to spend some time looking at the core beliefs of behavior theory. Modules 3 and 4, we're going to look at some applications. How do we take those core beliefs and apply them in real world situations with clients? So that's module 3, and modules 3 and 4 is the application of behavior theory. And then, like I said, the last 2 modules, modules 5 and 6, are about CBT, where we're going to do a little bit of both, some application and also some of the theories as well too. Each module is open for 2 weeks, opens on Monday. Module 1 is open for you. You've got a couple of weeks to work on it. And here's what you want to do in every single module. There are basically 2 or 3 things you're going to do in every module. Number 1, I have posted for you in every single module a little lecture video kind of like this one, or 2. In some modules, there's 1 video, some there's 2 or 3. And the first thing you probably want to do is listen to the lecture video. I've also posted a PowerPoint presentation. I've also posted some written lecture notes that if you want to print out and put in your notebook, you can do that as well too, because once the class ends, you may not have access to this classroom anymore. And you may want to take some notes with you. So I've given you some written lecture notes. I've got some case studies. I've got some handouts. I've got some websites and some web pages, all listed in the module. And your first task is just to go through and review all of that information. You've got 2 weeks to do that for every module. Plenty of time. Just don't wait till the very end of the weeks to do it. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time. You won't need a lot of time, but give yourself plenty of time to go through and look and just kind of digest and kind of, think a little bit about all of the basic things we're kind of talking about. That's the first thing you're going to do, is go through and look at all the content. Second thing you're going to do with every module is, towards the end of every module, you're going to do a written homework assignment. And you're going to type up your answers to some questions that I posted for you that come out of the lecture notes and out of the video. And you type those up and you turn those in. Almost all of those, I believe, homework assignments are due by 12 o'clock noon on Fridays. So Mondays and Fridays, if you've ever been with me in any of my classes, Mondays and Fridays are kind of big days. And so most of those homework assignments, I think, in fact, all 6 of them for each module, 1 for each module, I think they're all due by noon. And again, noon is our key time in this class, not midnight, 12 o'clock p.m., not 12 o'clock a.m. So everything that you're going to be working on in this class is always due at 12 noon, midday, not midnight, okay? So on Fridays, those homework assignments will be due. Make sure you look at the syllabus and get kind of a handle on the dates of when module 1 homework, module 2 homework, et cetera, is due. Due in the Dropbox by noon on Friday. Then after you do that homework, after 2 weeks, the module's open, there's going to be a 3rd week. In the 3rd week, I give you an entire week from Monday to Friday to do a quiz. There's quiz 1, quiz 2, and quiz 3. Quiz 1 is over modules 1 and 2. Quiz 2 is over modules 3 and 4, and so on. And so you'll do the quiz online. I have posted for you, I will post for you a little study outline for the quiz. The quiz is open note and open book. And you've got a whole week after the 2 modules, module 1 and module 2, each of those is open for 2 weeks. You're going to have a whole week then, a 5th week, basically, to do the quiz number 1. So we're going to follow that format all the way through these 6 modules. 2 modules, then a quiz. 2 modules, then a quiz. You're going to do a homework assignment with each module. So again, that should be clear as you look at the syllabus. I've got all the dates in there for you. They're loaded in the classroom. You're kind of good to go as far as just keeping up with your dates. So that's kind of how the class works. Along the way, you're also going to do, around the time you do a quiz, you're going to do 3 written assignments as well. The first one I've already got posted for you, and it is the TV show / textbook review assignment. I mentioned I was going to come back to the textbook, and so here we go. So the first written assignment is already posted and available for you. You can go ahead and start working on it if you want to. Look in the syllabus to check the due date. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what that assignment is. That assignment goes kind of with modules 1 and 2. And you're going to turn it in right before you do quiz number 1. So one of the options you have is you have 2 options with that assignment. You can do one of 2 things. One thing you can do is you can take that little green ABA textbook that I was talking about, and you go in and find the Dropbox for this assignment. And I've loaded for you some questions from that textbook where you can go. I've read ahead of you basically, and I've kind of pulled out some really important questions that I want you to go and find the answers to. So I have an outline with chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, several questions from every chapter. And you go in, you find the answers, you type up your answers on a Word document, you upload all those answers on your document by the due date. That's the textbook review assignment. So I know a lot of times students like assignments kind of like that. I know many students like to read, like to research a little bit. And so there's that assignment. So you can choose that assignment. If you don't want to do that assignment, you've got another option. And the other option is what I call the TV show review. And I've got an outline posted for you. This is a little paper, little 2 or 3 page paper that you will write after you go online. You go to YouTube, you go to Hulu, you set your DVR, and you find either America's Super Nanny, Nanny 911, or Super Nanny. One of those 3 nanny reality TV shows. I'm old enough that I was teaching here at the college when those Super Nanny reality shows came on many years ago, but you're probably familiar with them. Maybe you've never watched one. But maybe you're familiar with the idea of the super nanny, where you have a behavioral child care specialist who on camera goes in and works with the family and works with their kids. Usually kind of the format's pretty basic. Kids are having problems, parents are overwhelmed. The super nanny goes in, or the nanny goes in and works with the mom and dad, works with the kids, and it's about a 45-minute show. And when that show first came out many years ago, I was teaching this very class. And I had 3 or 4 students, while we were covering the content in this class, ask me, have you seen that new Super Nanny, Nanny 911 show on TV? I never had. I had 2 or 3 students who said to me, a lot of what we're talking about in here is in that show. I mean, this show, I watched it 2 nights ago, and I'm sitting in here listening to us talk, and I'm like, that's what that show was about. So I went and I started watching the Nanny 911 or Super Nanny reality shows. And I realized, this is a great little case study in basic behavior modification. We don't think about parenting as basic behavior modification. That's really what it is, though. We don't call it that. We call it parenting. But if you were to break down, if I were to ask you today, give me an example. What is the job of a mom or a dad or a grandparent? What's the job of a parent? Break it down for me. What are we to do with our kids? How do we do it? What are our goals? If you were to begin breaking down consistency, modeling, discipline, structure, praise, teaching, all of those things, all of that is basic behavior modification, is really what it is. So the other option for you, if you don't want to do the TV show, if you don't want to do the textbook review, is you can go find an episode. They're very easy to find. Go on YouTube or wherever, find you an episode of one of the nanny shows, watch it, use the outline I've given to you, take some notes while you're watching, because I ask you, kind of summarize for me in a little paper what episode you watched and what was the presenting problem. How did the nanny approach the problem? What basic concepts did she try? What did you learn? What did you notice? And so you can turn that in as well too. So you're going to do one of those 2 assignments, either the textbook review or the nanny TV show review, one of those 2. That assignment is posted for you. It's available right now. You can go and work on it. It's due before you do quiz number 1, right out of the chute here. Give you a few weeks to kind of hit the ground running, and we're going to turn that assignment in. So go ahead and be looking at that assignment. Along the way later in the semester, right before you do quiz number 2 and quiz number 3, you're going to do a case study before each one. You're going to do a behavior theory case study before quiz 2 and a cognitive behavior theory, CBT case study before quiz 3. I have not posted those quizzes yet, those case studies yet. I will post those as we get closer to the due dates, and you'll have plenty of time. And those are kind of take-home assignments or case study assignments where you're going to type up your answers to some questions I give you off of some little case scenarios. So those 2 case studies plus the TV show / textbook review, 3 written assignments. So you got some work to do. 6 modules, 3 quizzes. Each module has a homework assignment. That's 6 homework assignments, and 3 then written assignments along the way as well too. You're going to get it if you will. Like I said, make sure you look at all the orientation information I posted for you. Find the textbook if you can. Look at the syllabus. Get a feel for kind of how we're working. Module 1 is open right now for you. You've got 2 weeks to work through it, to turn your information in, to do the TV show / textbook review assignment. Get ready for quiz number 1. And along the way, as always, don't hesitate ever to reach out to me if you have questions or problems. My contact information is on the front page of the syllabus. You can also email me through D2L, or if you're on campus, come by and catch me here on the Montgomery campus if you're on campus this semester. So again, welcome to class. Just a little overview of kind of what we're doing here. Hope you have a great semester, and I will see you next time.